Welcome to SortaOkay Reviews, where every fandom's welcome. I'm Nathan Bedard.
I'm Brad Newton.
And today, well, you can't see us because we're not in the studio. We're going somewhere today.
Yeah, so we decided that we're going to Universal Studios today. I think we talked a little bit about it last week. We're going. They have the deal right now for Florida residents. If you buy a ticket for a day, you get to go the rest of the year. Then there's no blockout dates. You get to go for free.
Yeah, it's pretty much like a little mini season pass. I mean, I understand completely why they're doing it. I mean, right now they're just trying to get people into the park. And, you know, honestly, like, we'll tell you maybe our experience on next week's show on how it was. Because, you know, you got to wear a mask. They have temperature checks, all that kind of stuff. But I can straight up just tell you right now, like, if you don't feel safe going out, you're probably not going to feel safe going to a park. Just being honest with you.
And I think that's a sign that says they can't guarantee you won't get COVID. So, you know, just take the precautions, wash your hands a lot, wear the mask, stay safe. But we're confident enough that I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, you know, we gotta kind of get back to normal in some way. But as long as you just take the precautions, and because too, this is just such a good deal. I mean, I think it was with tax and everything, it comes to like $170.
Yeah, 170 something. And then we can go whenever we want, pretty much till the end of the year now.
And it's not just one day, like, okay, you buy a day, then you can go one more day later on. No, it's every day. You can literally go every day if you want to from now on. And no blockout dates. So, like, oh gosh, Christmas time. Like, let's go to the park. Oh no, we can't. Like, nope, you're good to go. But it's only for Florida residents. Which, I mean, I don't mind. Like, we're a big chunk of what can go right now, because most people aren't planning a trip right now to theme parks just because some things are closed down, some things are not technically working right now. So they're not wanting to spend that money right now to do a trip. They're going to wait till next year. So who's better to go right now? Your local residents.
And before we go any further, apologize for the audio again, because we are in the car, so like all the background noise you hear right now is just us driving. But we're testing out our new mic, and we're seeing how well it gets rid of background noise, and we'll upload this still regardless of how bad the audio is, pretty much. But it could be really disastrous, but you know, we're just trying something new. So yeah. But anyway, back to Universal. I'm really excited to go. I actually haven't been in years, and this was like the perfect opportunity for, I think, me to go back.
Oh yeah, I think the only problem or tidbit I could see being a little annoying is just the fact that, like, if it's really, really hot and, you know, you're wearing a mask, like, that's the only thing. But other than that, I don't really see a problem. I mean, you just have to you just got to take your time with it. You know, if you feel hot, if you're feeling yourself getting tired, just take a break. They have areas where you can take it off and relax. And also too, I mean, go get a beverage, go get something. Like, they have a lot of great food out right now. Right now, they're even though Halloween Horror Nights is not necessarily going on, they got the tribute store, which has a lot of goodies in it. I hear the vegan donut, the vegan skull donut is pretty good. But yeah, just like take your time, enjoy it. I've pretty much, from what I've seen on a lot of videos, is people that go, like, if you go during the weekday, you're gonna be good. Like, it's not that busy. Even the weekends, I've heard, is not that bad. Like, the only day I've heard that most places have reached capacity was on Memorial Day weekend, which makes sense. But other than that, I'm super excited. It's gonna get us back to a little bit of normalcy. Like, you know, we've been to the movies now. So it's just, we're starting to get back into the swing of things, going back to somewhat normal life. So I'm super excited.
I feel bad for the people in California right now with the fires and quarantine and everything's still closed. Can't imagine still being in quarantine. For us, like, we've continued working and
working. I mean, our stores are open.
Florida's just in a different place than California right now.
Yeah.
And one last thing to mention about Universal is that the deal for the buy a day and go for the rest of your free ends on September 30th. So I think you only got a little bit of time left if that's something you're interested in doing.
Yeah, now granted, they probably will have deals throughout the year, because of course they're just going to want to get more and more people into their parks. But I mean, this deal is just so good. Like, I couldn't help but get it.
Also, just so you know, like, their cheapest hotel right now is $80 a night. So you can get a hotel literally for $80 a night, which is real cheap too.
Yeah, like some of their brand new hotels are like super cheap. So I mean, like I said, if you're in the local area right now, like you need a little bit of a getaway, because even though we're able to go to the parks and the movies down here, life's still still 2020. Let's be honest. So if you need a little bit of a break and a getaway, right now is a little bit of the best time because you can get things so cheap. And like I said, if you're very scared to go out and you don't feel so safe, honestly, yeah, no, the recommendation is don't go. Just being honest with you. But I mean, if you're like, you know what, I feel fine, I'll take precautions, whatever. Right now is the best time.
Yeah, awesome. All right, so that's what we're doing. Again, like you said, we'll talk about our experience probably next week. But for right now, let's go ahead and get into the show. What have you been up to this week?
Well, I just started it's not necessarily a new anime. It's been around for a very long time. But I've been watching Haikyuu. It was actually a very popular shonen. It's lasted quite some time. I think the 4th season's about to come out this year, I think. And then the manga just ended. And I never played volleyball in high school or anything like that. I've seen a couple sports anime, like of course Kiriko Basketball, Slam Dunk, pretty much the basketball animes. But I've heard so many good things about it, and one of my coworkers, she plays volleyball and she's really, really into it. So I was like, you know what, I want to, and like, I don't know, I kind of like the anime like style of it.
Yeah. So
I was like, and I was bored. I was like, let me try it out. Let me watch a couple episodes. So I watched a couple episodes and I got hooked. It's really good. I just love the characters, and like, of course, it's just like, for being a sport anime, like, you know, sometimes those things cannot work and sometimes they can, and I think it really worked. I really enjoy it. And I'm learning a lot about volleyball too.
Yeah, it's always nice. Me personally, I haven't really started anything new watching wise. I'm still working on Ghost of Tsushima. It's a really great game. I'm having so much fun being a samurai in that game. It's very Assassin's Creed, Batman, Spider-Man. It's like kind of Infamous. It's kind of like all the things combined, and you get to be a cool samurai. And I'm just really enjoying that game. I'm playing that almost every night. Still watching Hunter x Hunter. We just finished Greed Island now, so we're about to go into Chimera Ant arc right now.
The best arc.
But yeah, other than that, I haven't really been doing anything. Actually, I've been watching Star Wars with my girlfriend too. We just finished Phantom Menace. We're watching them in order of release, not chronological. So we're on Attack of the Clones now.
Real quick sidebar. Did you hear about? So apparently, Daisy Ridley, I think, was talking with Josh Gad or somebody, and apparently, what a lot of people thought came to be true. They had no idea what they were doing for Star Wars.
What do you mean by they had no idea what they were doing for Star Wars?
So Daisy Ridley came out and said, like, she was, like, they were asking her, like, was it always, spoiler alert, by the way, if you haven't seen Rise of Skywalker, pretty sure you have, though, if you're watching our channel, at least. But if, like, you know how, like, she's a Palpatine? Like, they asked her, like, oh, was that always the plan? Were you always a Palpatine? And apparently, no. Apparently, in some of the early drafts and stuff, like, J.J. Abrams always kind of wanted her to be just a nobody, and then there were talks about her being a Kenobi, and, like, so people thought, like, and they were talking about how, like, that would be poetic, that it would be a Kenobi who actually does save a Skywalker, and, like, that story, but it turns out that they really never had a plan.
Well, I kind of think that was pretty obvious, by the way the trilogy went, because each movie was vastly different from each other. Force Awakens, obviously, like, maybe they had an idea of where they wanted to go, but then Rise of Skywalker took a hard left turn, and then they went back, or not, Last Jedi took a hard left turn, and then Rise of Skywalker did a 180 back to try to get to where it was. So I honestly would have preferred JJ to either have the whole trilogy or Rian Johnson to have the whole trilogy. But I think individually the movies are good, but as a whole, I don't like the trilogy together.
Yeah, I think, well, kind of like the prequels. I mean, people, of course, absolutely hate on the prequels, but there were a lot of things that...
I like the prequels as a trilogy, though. They tell a cohesive story.
Yeah, and then, too, like like the one thing that you kind of could take away from both of them is the characters. Like, I love Obi-Wan Kenobi in the prequels. We love Darth Maul. Darth Maul has become one of the most popular characters. General Grievous was awesome. Count Dooku was awesome. Young Yoda was awesome. And then same with the new trilogy. Like Daisy Ridley, Kylo Ren are some of the like coolest characters. Snoke, not that cool. But it was cool seeing Palpatine back. And then, of course, we got Poe, and then we got Finn, and then we got BB-8. So, I mean, we got cool characters. And like I said, I mean, at the end of the day, I loved Rise of Skywalker. I had so much fun with it. And then, of course, Force Awakens, like, I'll never forget that experience of just being there with the new Star Wars. But yeah, I just thought that was kind of interesting that, like, oh man, they really, they
didn't have a plan. Yeah, you could tell by the different directions, different directors. They wrote them as they went along, and like George Lucas had like a plan of what he was doing and where he was going with each trilogy. So it's just got all split up. But yeah, other than that, I haven't really been doing. Sorry for the sidebar, but doing a lot this week. Besides, work, I got a new work schedule. Yeah, just doing that. But the one thing I actually did catch up on, which is our topic of discussion this week, is The Boys. I'm caught up on all 5 episodes. I just finished last night, and man, do I love that show.
Yeah. So I would say for the next couple of minutes, we'll tell you when we're done with spoilers. But I think we're going to talk spoilers here for a minute. So if you haven't caught up on The Boys, and if you actually do care about getting spoiled, I would pause. We'll probably put in the side notes like when we stop talking spoilers. But yes, you've been warned. But yeah, no, I love that show. Like, no shade against some of the reviewers, but a lot of people, like some critics and stuff, have been saying like, oh, this season is horrible. They don't know where they're going, this and that. And I'm like, what are you talking? I love the way this season's going so far.
Well, I think like people have just been trying to trash it because it's been coming out week to week, and people are upset about that instead of it coming all out at once.
I know, and like I hate that because people are going to complain either way. People are going to be like, oh man, this is week to week. This sucks. Like, I don't want to wait every week. Like, we've been so spoiled with Netflix and stuff, just dropping a whole season, and we can dump a whole day of just catching up on a show.
Well, I kind of like the aspect of week to week, just because you get like you get the time to digest and like talk to people about what do you think's going to happen, instead of like if it comes all out at once, then you finish it in a day and it takes me a few weeks to do it, and by the time I'm finished, you're already like done thinking about it because it's already been. You're like, oh, I finished that like a month ago, and I'm like, well, I just finished it now. Like Umbrella Academy, I still haven't finished season 2 yet, and then you finished almost a few weeks ago.
And I believe John Campia, shout out to him, he said it pretty well. Like, when you have a show that's like when you just dump the whole season out, like what you said, you finish it, you talk about it, and then you're done. Like the whole talk about your show, even if it's good or bad, like just the talk of it lasts for maybe a week. The popularity lasts for a week or two, and then it's done. Where if you do weekly, you have a chance to digest it and you still keep talking about it. So your popularity lasts for like a couple months. And then that way, so like you can get new viewers, or you can get that one person like, oh, okay, I can catch up on it and then talk about it with my friends, than having to watch the whole series. Because a lot of people don't have the well, I wouldn't say luxury, I guess, but like the ability to just drop everything, watch a whole season, and then go about it, talk with their friends. Like, they need just that, oh, okay, I got 30 minutes, let me watch the new episode. Bam. Oh, man, did you see what happened? Like, you can do that more. And I think that's actually a pretty smart. And plus, too, especially right now with, a lot of movies getting pushed back, everything not coming out as fast. Like, let's prolong our content a little longer. Like, I don't want to just eat everything up in the first week. I want this to last. Like,
between this and The Mandalorian coming out in October, like that's going to be a week-to-week thing too. I'm looking forward to that. So I don't know. It's nice to talk about every week. So back to The Boys. Like in general, I'm really liking season 2 just for the fact because I have no idea how the season's going to end. To be honest with you, like they could do pretty much anything at this point because your expectations could keep getting turned like all over the place. Like, you keep on thinking they're going to go this way with something, and then they're like, nope.
Yeah, and like, I'll tell you what, like, I remember when I watched season 1, it was a little hard to, like, get used to it, just because, like, you know, I've grown up, I've, like, you know, been taught superheroes are the best, they're great, and then, you know, when you're watching it and you're, like, thinking about it really, it's like, oh, yeah, the collateral damage and stuff like that, sometimes they're not all good, and then, too, especially if corporate or, like, you know, government or anything got involved, there'd be bad to that, but this season, like, they're going wild with it. And one thing, like, you know, of course, Homelander is a bad person.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like, we could talk about Homelander for a while here. He's probably my favorite character in the show. Yeah. He's the most interesting and terrifying person I've ever seen, because, like, all the like how messed up he is. Like, that scene, like, just thinking about it gives me chills of, like, when. Like, he's I think it's episode 4 when he goes to the protest. Maybe it was episode 5. But when he goes to the protest and he just pictures himself murdering everybody with laser eyes in the audience. And he was, like, thinking about doing it. And I was like, oh, my God.
I just love that, like, how he, you know, he's like, forget what Vought wants to do. I'm Homelander. I'm America. I know that people love me. I'll go out and defend for myself. And then he goes out there. And, like, and especially for now in time, like, you don't speak for me, and like, I like how he, like, the military guys, like, you don't speak for me. I've been fighting for our country with no powers, and, like, just because you have powers, that came from a tube, which also is a big thing. Like, now the whole secret about, like, where they got their powers is out there now, and that's definitely not helping them. But yeah, I just love how he's like that, and then too, of course, the funny little quirks about him, where like him and his milk is the most hysterical thing I've ever seen in my life. Where just like, you need to find someone that loves you the way Homelander loves his booby milk. I mean,
it's pretty great. Homelander's got his son. He's trying to raise him. I'm curious where that's gonna go. Where, you know, the baby Homelander is gonna go. The whole Butcher storyline where she didn't want to go with him, like, the whole first season was about Butcher trying to find her, well, you know, get revenge for her, and then it was like, I figured this whole season would be like, okay, we're trying to get to her, but no, 4th episode, he's there, he's got her, and they can get away together.
I kind of saw that coming a little bit, just because once I saw that, oh, that's Homelander's kid, I'm like, you know what, this guy, like, his biggest thing is, like, he despises soups.
Yeah.
Like, he just cannot stand soups. And to the fact of, like, that kid, like, the mom's not going to just drop her kid. She loves that kid to death. And the kid's nice. Like, he is not like Homelander in any sense. He has a moment, but even that, it's not bad. It's just, like, I think the kid's nice. So, to that fact, like, you just kind of thought, like, is he going to accept this kid? Like, yeah, he loves her, and he probably, like, you know, would put up a front, but, you know, he says he's like, you don't, like, okay, just forget the kid. The kid's like a soup. He's a freak. Like, and she's like, no, like, this is my kid. Like, I can't do that. Like, and he just realizes, like, oh, she loves, like, him more than me. Like, what am I doing? And then, like, he kind of just has, like, a little bit of a fallout.
And then we have Huey's storyline with Starlight, which, honestly, he's just gone. Him, like, first of all, the whole whale scene was fucking great.
Huey is all of us in 2020, where we're just like, we just keep getting hit with stuff, and we just need our second win so bad right now. We're just sitting there in the stomach of the whale, just like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna stay here.
This is my life now. I think I'm just gonna stay inside this dead carcass of a whale, and I can't believe, like, that seems so stupid. Like, the Deep's whole storyline and shit, but, like, he's like, I'm the Deep. I'm finally gonna get redemption. He's like, and he's standing on top of the whale. Then he gets knocked out, and I'm like, the Deep's like, I know it's like a hit on how, like, stupid Aquaman was for years, but I'm just like, just looking at it, I'm like, oh my god, the Deep's the most useless superhero.
Well, that, and I just love his, like, breakdown of, like, when he's like, you know, he's at the water park, like, you guys just play with water like it's fun. He's like, he's just having his mental breakdown, and then pretty much we get like the Hawkeye character too come in.
The bow and arrow guy.
I can't even remember his name.
Yeah, me either.
I think it's
but
like
the bow
Eagle Eye.
Yeah.
He's just like, hey, us guys, we need help every now and then. And then pretty much there's this thing called the Church of the Collective, which I think is going to play an interesting role too.
Yeah.
But they're just pretty much like, we're going to redeem you. We're going to get you back into the 7.
Yeah, it's a cult.
It's a cult,
It's a cult, yeah. So he's like, cult goes after broken, people and shit. So
don't take a Fresca. If somebody offers you a Fresca. One thing this show's taught me: if you get offered a Fresca, do not take a Fresca.
You go on some weird ass trippy shit they put in there.
Yeah, and then apparently Patton Oswalt will talk to you.
And Patton Oswalt will talk to you through an orifice in your body, I guess. But yeah, the Deep's character is like kind of the D plot, but I'm kind of interested in it. So I figured like they'd try to redeem him, but they're not really trying to redeem him because like the Deep's a piece of shit. And even in the last episode, Maeve's like trying to make a deal with him. She's like, if you want to get back into the 7, which will be hard to do, but you need a female character saying you're not gonna be a piece of shit. And then he's like, he's like, do you think I'm a piece of shit? And she's like, oh yeah, without hesitation, you're a piece of shit. I laughed at that.
I give him props though. He is trying to, in a sense. Like we haven't, besides this like mental breakdown, pretty much like he has gotten better. I mean. I will say that, like, out of all the characters, like, he did bad stuff, but he is trying, at least. I will give him that.
Yeah, but, like, he cared... Like, that's also a joke, too, where he cares so much about, like, the fish, and I'm like, he's like, when he was a kid, he first heard, like, the goldfish begging for their lives and shit.
Yeah, no,
he was, like, begging for their lives when he went to the aquarium.
It's sad, but it's also hysterical too. It's like, oh my god, could you imagine being in a pet store and then all of a sudden you just hear the goldfish? Hey man, like let us out, man.
Yeah,
you gotta get us out of here.
And then like he was like crying over the whale dying, and then he was like, and he tells Homelander, he's like, oh god, he's like, Lucy, no. And then Homelander's like, oh my god. He's just so annoyed by the Deep. But then Black Noir goes by and he like puts his hand on his shoulder.
Black Noir has hit some... Like, he has just been low-key kind of my second favorite character this season. Just like, the opening scene with him killing that soup terrorist. He, like, I'm like, okay. Like, and two is like a little interaction with the kid. I'm like, oh, that's funny and also cool. Like, damn, he's a badass. He gets shit done. And then on top of that, like I love when they find out when they leak Compound V to the press, and all the soups are finding out, and you just see Black Noir sitting like on the hallway, just like crying,
thinking about what they did to him. And like you would think, I don't know. I think Black Noir because he has like the direct link to like Mr. Edgar, like the lead of Vought. Like I think he's probably knows more than Homelander about what's going on. I think him and Stormfront both know, and we'll get to Stormfront in a second, but him and Stormfront know like exactly what's going on and shit because he just listens without question. But
I feel like he, because I think I haven't read the comics at all, but I've heard that he has a similar power set to Homelander. I think he's like a cross between Homelander and Deadpool. I think. Yeah. Because it seems like he has regenerative abilities.
From what I hear in the comics, Black Noir is worse than Homelander.
Oh, he's like... I've heard that he does some... Like, they've toned it down a bit.
Yeah, I think they're taking a different approach with him in the show. So, anyway, and then, Black Noir, he's just kind of a side character, but that's cool.
But he's been hysterical this season.
I feel kind of bad for Starlight, but...
Well, I mean, I like that, like, she's kind of not on their team. Like, she still wants to be that hero. I mean, she has these powers. She's like, I want to save people. I want to be what a hero is supposed to be. But, she's just getting beat down like Huey, but in a different way of, like, my life technically should be great. Like, I have money. I have fame. I'm in the 7. Like, it should be great. But you just see that, like, the opposite effect of, like, yeah, I got this, but... at what cost? Like, we're actually pieces of shit, technically. Like, we're horrible people. And then, too, I think the biggest thing is about this season is, like, yeah, Homelander, like, he can just, like, you're just so scared that if you piss him off, he can kill you.
And then, before we get to Stormfront, last thing would be A-Train. A-Train's being, forced to be retired and stuff. And like, he's, like, trying to keep his place, but, like, that's the one thing where I agree with Homelander on it. Homelander's like, you can't run anymore. Like, you shot up with Compound B, like, you had a heart attack, and every time you run now, you get, like, triggered. He's like, you're probably not even on top 20 fastest people on the planet now. So he's like, you're done.
That, and then, like, you see, like, they're shooting the movie and everything, like, you're starting to see that, like, like, you know, he wants to be back in, but everyone's like, like, no, you gotta go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering, I don't think we'll get that, like, redemption character with the Deep, because I do think that the fact that he wants to be in the Seven still so bad kills the thought of a redemption.
Yeah.
So, but I do think if we are gonna get a redemption character, it might actually be A-Train.
Yeah, he would need, like, something to fix his power, though, because, like, if he can't use his speed, then, I don't know.
Yeah, he can't use his speed, but I think the fact that, like, you know, he's starting to see, like, oh, VOD doesn't care about me, they are actually just crappy, and I never care. I think that could lead maybe down a path that he could be, you know, a little bit redemption.
And then, obviously, the last character I want to talk about is probably maybe the most, if not second most interesting to Homelander is Stormfront. Stormfront in this season, like, you go from, like, kind of not, you know, liking her, kind of curious about her, you know, maybe kind of liking her a little bit, 'cause she's like, oh, you know, screw VOD at the beginning, to instantly hating her.
Oh, yeah, no.
It was like
I don't think you go
twist.
to not hating her. I think you go from liking her to absolutely hating her.
Like, almost within, like, 10 minutes. Like, the scene, like, you know, you think she's kind of cool, like, she's a vlogger, she's like, you might hate her because she's the stereotypical millennial, like, always on her phone, not giving a shit about people, but, you know, maybe you think it's kind of a nice relief. And then when they're going after Kimiko and her brother, like, and she's like, hi guys, and then, like, they go into the building, and she instantly just starts killing everybody. Like, she doesn't even care. Like, she literally, in that scene, she stops chasing them to, like, go, oh, I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna kill you.
And then now, like, I thought about this, because I'm like, well, wait a minute. We know that Homelander, one reason why him and Maeve let that plane, like, the people in the plane die, is because, like, okay, yeah, we can't save them, and if they see what we're like, they could tell the press. But Homelander hasn't, like, he's a horrible person, don't get me wrong, but his collateral damage has been because of collateral damage. Like, he hasn't deliberately just stopped and gone out of his way to kill people. And I kind of thought that was a little strange. I'm like, well, wait a minute. Why did she legitimately just stop and kill those people? And now that we know maybe about her past, it makes total sense now.
Because it was like a black neighborhood.
It was a black family, yeah.
And then when we see back, you figure out that she's Liberty, and then, like, she would just randomly go and kill, like, black people, and I'm like, oh my god, she's so terrible. Like, she's so horrible. And you get the scene with her and A-Train where she's like, the church used to mean something, and then they just started letting anybody in. And A-Train looked at her like, what do you mean by that? And I'm like, oh my god, she's like so. And then she calls Kimiko's brother, like, you yellow. I can't remember, but, like, some really racist term towards Asian people. And I'm like, oh my god, it's so, like, she's worse than Homelander.
Yeah, well, I know she's in that, like, the whole character is an actual, like, you know, thing from the comics, but I think they really are aiming on today's world.
Yeah,
which is good though, because I mean, we, like, you know, it's always good to be, you know, relevant, especially to what's going on in the times, but in a good way. Like, I like the fact that, like, yeah, there are people out there like this, and there are people that will still think this, and it's just like, but yeah, like, her story is crazy, like,
and she's apparently super old too, for some reason, and we don't know how. And
she's like, her power, like, of course she's, like, got these storm, like, powers, but also it's a little bit,
she's kind of like Superman with storm powers, so she's like crazy.
Because one of the funniest scenes, I think, in this whole season so far is that scene where, spoiler alert, her and Homelander hook up.
Yeah, that was the end of the last episode. Is where she's like, burn my chest. She's like, laser my titties.
She's like, just shut up and laser my tits. And, like, and he does that, and, like,
I'm like, oh my god.
But it's oh my gosh, that is so hysterical. I just thought of so many memes they could make from that. Like, one, they're having sex, like, in the midair, and, like, two, he's just throwing her across the room, just breaking stuff. Like, it's so funny.
Yeah, they're, like, fighting each other, like, but at the same time, like, having sex and stuff. And which kind of was the opposite direction where I thought that was going. I thought it was going to, like, lead to a head where they were going to fight each other, which it still might.
Yeah.
But like, them hooking up, like, I was like, oh, okay, you know, because apparently Stormfront in the comics is a male.
Yeah, he's
so
a male.
making you know, Stormfront a female in this, you know, changes the dynamic a bit. So yeah, that's cool. But yeah, overall, The Boys it's been really good. I didn't think I would like the season as much, but once I got into it, I kind of binged it.
It makes perfect sense though, because like especially now knowing a lot more about her character, it's like she's actually perfect for Homelander because one, she's she knows how to stray the media, and that's another thing that we got to see, like because when there was a video that went out of Homelander just going on his own path and killing a soup terrorist, but in the incident, he ends up killing an innocent boy. And
yeah, on accident.
Yeah, by accident. And yes, you understand, but two, he was a little bit aggressive. Like he could have easily stopped him without doing that.
Yeah.
But so then people are like, hey, we're okay with superheroes, but you got to be held accountable. You just killed somebody. You can't just. And he's just like, what does it matter? Like people are just gonna die. People are not liking that he said that, and then but then Stormfront's like, listen, this is the media. Like we can, I can sway it, and she shows, and I love how they use memes in this.
She's like, I have 4 guys making memes. She's like, and as soon as you see them on your uncle's Facebook page, you know it's working.
Yeah, and then pretty much she kind of turns the tables a little bit for him. Like, oh yeah, now he's got the media like, oh, it was photoshopped, and stand up for America, and he's like, oh, okay, you're actually helping. And so, but in that sense, and then too, she's like, she's raised, she's very old timey, America should be this way. And that's kind of like how Homelander.
Well, she does mention there's a little nod where she says, you gotta learn how to change with the time. She's like, God knows I did. Thinking yeah, apparently if you've been alive that long.
Yeah, she's still got her racist tendencies, but she's changed in the way of and women power, social media. She knows what's working.
I think she probably knows more than what's going on too. Like I said, I think earlier, I think her and Black Noir, have a direct connection to the Mr. Edgar, which is the leader of the company, because she was appointed by him. To the 7,
and that's what's really confusing. That's what I like, because now I'm totally confused because he appointed her, but look what she's doing. She's she's trashed Vought a couple of times. She's like, oh, don't buy these stupid toys, or don't do this, don't do that. But it's
I think there's something more going on there.
Yeah, I think he has a plan with her. But also too, now that I think about it, the guy's name, again, what's his name?
Mr. Edgar.
Mr. Edgar, he's a black man. So, is she really on his side that much?
Yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting point.
We covered Starlight a little bit. Kimiko and Frenchie, their story.
That's probably that's probably my least favorite one, because I liked Kimiko with her brother. That was cool, but Frenchie keep trying to help her over and over again. I kind of like how that came to a head where they were both kind of fuck you, and then we're done.
Yeah, we saw that coming. You could tell. Frenchie is the epitome of I like this girl.
Yeah.
We've all had that moment where we just want to help someone because we like them, and he finally just takes a chance and kisses her, and she almost kills him.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. It's just he's listen, I'm here for you. I've tried to make your life better. I don't want you to turn into this monster like these soups. And she's just screw this. I just want to kill him. And he's forget it. Then be a monster. And real quick, can we just talk? I swear to God, Kimiko this season just looks gorgeous.
Oh, because she was
so beautiful this season.
Well, it's because the first season she would didn't have any. She was kept in a cage.
Yeah.
And they were trying to make her look like shit. But now that she's actually a regular, quote unquote human, kind of, they're still living in a basement, but it looks a little bit better.
She looks so. I swear, if they I couldn't help but think about it. But when when I was looking at her, I'm she could be a perfect live action Nezuko from Demon Slayer. Just seeing her the way she attacks and everything, I'm this would be a perfect Nezuko.
Yeah.
And also too, I found out she has a YouTube channel.
That's cool.
Karen. She also played. I forgot that she played Katana.
Oh yeah.
In the first Suicide Squad movie.
I didn't know that actually. That's cool. But yeah, I think that's. Any final thoughts on The Boys? I'm really enjoying the season so far. I look forward to. It's probably my favorite show that's on right now, at the very least. But it might be my top, 3 shows.
Yeah, no, I'm absolutely loving this season. I'm loving being able to look forward to it every week. I definitely can't wait to see where it goes. But yeah, I'm just enjoying it.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so we're done talking about the boys. Then our second and last topic this week is going to be the PS5. We'll say, to be nice, controversy. The cluster of stuff that happened for the PS5 pre-orders.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Well, first, before we get into pre-orders, the PS5 event happened, and I actually really enjoyed the PS5 event. I thought it was cool. We got the price. It's exactly what I thought it was going to be. It's for the digital version, it's $399. For the disc version, it's $499. And then they showed a lot of cool games. They freaking did it. They announced God of War. They said Ragnarok is coming in the Kratos' voice. So I'm like, oh my god.
And next year.
Yeah, next year. I think it'll be delayed, personally. I don't think it'll come out next year. If it does, it's going to be at the end. It'll be Christmas. But I personally think it's going to be delayed. But we'll see.
Yeah, it could be. I think we forget a little bit, though, like, when it comes to movies and games, like, movies you got to shoot outside, with real people. Where video games, you can have a couple people in the office doing the work, come in, sanitize, and then have a new group come in. So they can still work on these games. So,
well, it's not that. It's the fact that it took 5 years.
Yeah.
To make the first one, and it's only been, I think, 2018.
Maybe they've been maybe while they were working on the first one, they just kept going. They're working on all of them.
Yeah, it shouldn't take us long to make the next one, because they still have the bones. Like, they'll probably use the same, they made the first one pretty much from the ground up, so they'll probably the second one will be similar, at least, so, But, that was the biggest thing that came out.
Miles' gameplay looked amazing.
Oh, yeah. That looked freaking great, too. They announced the freaking Harry Potter open world RPG, which I was like, holy. Like, you get to live as a student through Hogwarts.
I know. Like, it's funny, we're going to Universal, so we're going to be able to go to the Hogwarts land. But it's so funny. I was at work, and I remember watching the event, and I'm, like, looking, and I'm, like, I look at my coworkers, I'm like, oh, my God, I'm going to be able to become a wizard.
Yeah, it's like my childhood fantasy, you guys. Like,
and it looks good. They made Harry Potter games before based on the movies, but, we haven't had that, like, kind of, like...
Like, your own story. Like, you're going to Hogwarts. It's like an open world RPG, and you're going to learn spells and all this cool stuff. Yeah, I think you're going to go classes and, like, go to Hogsmeade and all this open world stuff. So that looks freaking great, too. I can't remember, they showed Deathloop again. Deathloop got delayed, unfortunately. It's a Bethesda game, and we'll talk a little bit more about Bethesda in a minute. But, other than, those are the heavy hitters that they announced. Miles, God of War. And,
I swear they did one more, though.
Demon Souls, the remastered Demon Souls. That's not for me personally, but...
They did a Final Fantasy.
Oh, Final Fantasy 16, yeah, they did announce that.
Yeah.
The Resident Evil 8, they showed.
Yeah.
Deathloop, Resident Evil 8, Final Fantasy 16. All good stuff. I don't think they showed any more Horizon.
No, they didn't show any Horizon.
I think those were the main ones, though. But they came out swinging pretty hard.
So a really cool thing I thought that I think some people, because a lot of people kind of been talking about, like, how Xbox Game Pass, like, wow, this is so great. You're going to be able to play all these, like, main titles day one. Now, granted, this is not as good as that. But I thought it was really cool that when you get PlayStation Plus for the PS5, you're automatically, I think, going to be able to have, like, a lot of their old main titles available to download for free on PS5.
Yeah.
Like God of War, Horizon, Last Standing, all those type of games you can just download day one.
Yeah.
And they'll have, like, a...
And then, so it's called the PS Plus Collection. And I'm thinking that's pretty great. So, as you mentioned, God of War Horizon. It's, like, basically greatest hits PS4. So, like, you could still have your PS4. Like, a lot of people were complaining about this because they're like, oh, well, I already have all these games. I'm like, well, a lot of people don't. Like, I didn't play Days Gone, or, like, there's a few of these I missed. Like, and I'm pretty sure it's pretty good, regardless. And if you don't need it, it's like, if you're getting it extra. It's not, no one was really expecting this. So you're getting, like, extra just for having the PS5, which I think is cool.
Yeah, I just thought that was a big win for them. Like, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I could just now, like, but the only thing that just sucks is, of course, you download it. I think the standard memory on a PS5 is a terabyte.
Nope, it's 825, not even a terabyte.
So not even a terabyte.
That's annoying.
So, I mean, that sucks considering the fact, like, that's one thing I think.
The PS4 Pro is a terabyte. Let me get that. The PS4 Pro has a bigger hard drive than the PS5, which is weird to me.
Yeah, so you will. I still can think if you're going to be doing some digital games on the system, which is one reason
you're going
why.
to need an external hard drive.
Especially if you do the digital only version, you're going to need a digital hard drive.
Yeah.
And just download your. I would say just download your save data on that, because then like you can always just delete the game if you have to.
Yeah. So then after the event, they ended with God of War, which was hype as shit. I was so excited for that. And when Kratos just said Ragnarok's coming, and then I'm like, it was hype. It was hype as, and then everyone was on a super high, and then things kind of changed. Jeff Keighley tweeted out, he was like, yeah, pre-orders are going to be available tomorrow. And then 30 minutes later, he said, well, some will be available tonight. And then all of a sudden, I saw on Twitter, like, probably an hour after the event, I saw a tweet from IGN Deals, shout out to them, they always are on point with stuff. Target pre-orders are live, and I was like, oh shit. And then Walmart pre-orders are live 30 minutes later, and then, like, Amazon was later in the night, and it was like, it said tomorrow.
Yeah, and actually GameStop was actually taking pre-orders as soon as as far as like 6:30, because I saw people posting actual like receipts of their PS5 pre-orders. And like I'll be honest with you, okay, at the end of the day, I don't think it was 100% Sony's fault.
Yeah, I think the retailers just jumped the gun.
But now, granted, where you get held, like, Sony needs to be held accountable for their lack of communication, though, or like, hey, don't release these things. Like, if not, like, they could be penalized. Like, there needs to be some kind of accountability for them. But yeah, it was the retailers that messed everything up, because they just decided, boom, hey, we're gonna set these out, and like a lot of people got screwed, because like I remember it was like 8 o'clock. I'm like, wait a minute. I was at work. I'm like, wait a minute, they went live.
Yeah.
And I can't drop $500 right now to pay for it. I wanted to do like Amazon or GameStop, like $50, hold a console, I'll pick it up, I'll pay it off as I go.
But even if you had the $500, like I talked to my brother about it. I personally decided I'm going to wait for the PS5, which I'm kind of glad I did right now. But the my brother said he was up until, he started at like I think 6 or 7. And then he was up until 2, refreshing on Best Buy or Target, like wherever he could, to try to get the purchase to go through. And he said he finally got one, but it took him 5+ hours of refreshing the page just to get through.
Best Buy was the best option.
Yeah,
I saw for people.
Yeah, I think he got one through Best Buy.
I had one in my cart. I could have checked out, but it's just like I was like, I couldn't drop the 500 right now.
Yeah, but yeah, it was. I remember the tweet said that, oh, the PS5, you have pre-orders, we'll give you time, we'll give you notice, and yeah, that didn't really work out well.
Nope. In GameStop, they were not supposed to start till the next day.
And then everyone, the next day when everyone heard that they was supposed to start, if you woke up the next morning, everyone was gone. They were all gone. So, you woke up the next morning, okay, when a pre-order is going to start, they're going to drop, and then they're already all gone at that point.
Yeah, I knew about everything that happened, but I still woke up, went to my GameStop, and they immediately had a sign on there that said, we are not taking PS5 pre-orders at this time. Yeah. And we asked the guy, we were like, hey, how many did you guys get? And they were like 18. And we're like, what? 18? And then on top of that, I heard another guy that was there, he went to the one in the mall, our mall, and they said that people were getting turned away left and right. It's just another thing is okay, I wouldn't give so much blame to Sony too but they were like, hey, don't worry, pre-orders they're not going to be limited. We're not behind on stock, this and that. And too, they've even been saying right now, they're like, listen, there are going to be more pre-orders throughout to the launch. Yeah. And I'm like, why didn't you just put out your full inventory right then and there?
Well, I think, to be fair, I think they don't know what their full inventory is going to be because of COVID. So to be fair, I mean, I get all the hate and shit about this, but at the same time, I think Sony's trying. Like, it could have gone smoother. There should have been a time and date when you can order the PS5, but I think they're trying at the very least.
Yeah, and two, like, people need to so this is my big takeaway from it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm a collector. I collect Funko Pops. I've been dealing with this for a couple years now.
Yeah.
A big thing about this whole debacle too, that really I think on why this happened, bots.
Yeah.
People are like
they're trying to resell. Like, you can look on eBay right now. They're going for like $1,000 for a PS5.
And that's the thing that Sony, I would think, is Sony, that what you can do to make things better.
Mm-hmm.
Go on those eBay, like, have parts of your team go onto those eBay listings. And that's the stupid thing. Like, people are posting, they're like, hey, we got confirmation on our pre-orders. Look at our thing. It shows your order ID.
Yeah.
Take those order IDs, get with your retailers, be like, hey, this order ID, can you find it?
Yeah.
Okay, cancel it, because they're trying to sell it for $1,000.
Yeah.
That would be the best. Like, I'm say, like, if you want to redeem yourself in a way, that would be a good thing. But from being in the collector game, what this year has taught me heavily is, like, you know, especially with Funko Pops, it's hard this year because, one, stock is a little lower, and two, you have people that are just like, everybody's shopping online.
Yeah,
so you have
people aren't going out.
People flocking
and then
online.
also people are trying to make, like, people are out of jobs right now, so they're like, well, how can I make money? So they're going to try to buy up stuff and resell it.
They're going to try. So you have that. So, like, you have a lot of the reason why this sold out, I think, so quick is because of that. You had people with bots.
And then you also have people with nothing to do right now. So they're like, there's nothing, everything got delayed this year entertainment-wise. So everyone's like, the PS5 is it this year. There's no movies. There's no anything else. Like, this is it. So everyone's been looking forward to the PS5.
I mean, PS4s have been kind of hard in stock. Like, Switches have been.
I had a special, the one that I got, new one, I had a special order, and it took a few weeks to get here.
Yeah, but don't, like, best thing I could say is do not worry. Like, I had the fear just like everybody else when the next day I went down, and then last night I was just like, man, oh, crap, I don't think I'm gonna get this. What am I gonna do? But then I thought about it for a minute. I'm like, well, wait a minute, we have 2 months before this even comes out.
I'm sure there'll be more pre-orders at some point.
There'll be more pre-orders throughout the couple of months, and then 2, they might even have some day 1 when you get in the store.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were saying, I saw a lot of tweets about it, like, people are saying, I think I'm just going to camp out for it.
Yeah, and then 2, you're, like, you got to think this way, too. You're telling me that Sony, and even if Xbox, like, they do their sells out, you're telling me that they're not going to, like, they're going to want those units in stores for the holidays. There's no way that they're not going to want their systems on shelves for Black Friday.
Yeah.
So, and then on top of that, too, like, listen, this is a first edition, like, you're going to get that. One, they're going to come out with, like, a PS5 Slim. They're going to come out with a PS5 Pro at some time. And then 2, God of War's coming out next year. Horizon 2's coming out.
Yeah.
They'll easily probably do, like, a special edition.
Yeah,
which will probably look insane.
Yeah, they'll probably be at least a bundle. I think when I'm going to buy the PS5 will be when they have, like, the God of War bundle.
That, I mean, I still might, like, that's the thing, too. If I can easily go into GameStop, pre-order it, or buy one, or go on Amazon and get one, I'll get one. But if not, I'll easily, like, you know that they're going to do that. Like, everybody's been hammering for an all-black edition.
Yeah.
They're easily going to do that. And then, 2, like I said, I think...
It'll just be, for the first few months, I think it'll be hard to get.
Yeah, I just think...
like the Switch.
And then, 2, people are just, like, it's a collecting thing. You're having that... There are hype beasts out there that are hyping this up right now. There's no way that... You see those eBay listings right now that are actually have bids on them for like $10,000. I almost 90% guarantee you those are people hyping up their own listings. They're making their own accounts and then bidding on their own thing to make people think that it's been done for years.
Yeah, or people are trolling.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, they're trolling.
No, I mean, like, somebody else is trolling them for trying to sell it for $1,000.
Yeah.
So they're trying to mess with them and be like, oh, I'm going to pay you $10,000 and not actually pay you.
Yeah. And, I mean, honestly, do I recommend doing that? No. But, yeah, I think it's funny. People think that they're going to sell their consoles and then nope.
Yeah.
So don't worry. Like I definitely was like scared. Just like
I think if you want one bad enough, you'll be able to find one.
Yeah, I mean, if this is your livelihood, like this is how you make money, and you need to get one. Okay, I understand that. But other than that, I wouldn't worry.
Yeah, like I said, it'll be a few months maybe before you can get one. But to be honest, like the big thing for me was they're releasing Miles on PS4 and Horizon. They're still coming out on PS4. So the whole reason that I might have gotten a PS5 was for Miles Morales. But they tweeted, Insomniac tweeted that, there's going to be a PS4 version too with a free upgrade to PS5. So I'm like, okay, so I don't really need a PS5 right now. If like the first few months, first year, all the games coming out for PS5, there's going to be a PS4 version, and then it's backwards compatible, so it'll just be upgraded and automatically with the PS5 version.
Exactly, and then too, like also one thing you got to consider too, like let these people like that get the PS5 day one, like let them test it out, because who knows, we could get the PS5, and they could have so many bugs in them.
Yeah.
Like, they could have so many problems, and then you could be like, oh, man, thank God I didn't buy one. I'm going to wait for them to fix this bug or this, that. So, just don't worry. I would not worry about it.
Yeah. But I think that's going to do it for us this week.
Yeah, I would say we're about 22 minutes from Universal.
I think this is our longest show so far. I mean, hopefully the audio sounds okay, but I kind of like doing it this way.
Yeah, I mean, it's just chill. Like, that's one great thing. Like, that's one reason why we love podcasts, is because we just sit there and talk. And, I mean, we could ramble on about hours on, like, just the stupidest things or the randomest of things. So, but, yeah, I think that is going to do it for us today. We hope you enjoyed it. If you definitely want more of this, hopefully, like I said, you might hear the noise from the highway and stuff like that. But if you like this version of just, like, a audio-only version, we would love to do it, because we can easily talk for an hour or two. So just let us know down in the comments if you want that.
All right, yep. So thank you guys so much for listening this week. Thank you guys so much.
Yep. And have a great day.